Hey guys, it's me, Vanessa. So I didn't post a video last week because I was tired, stressed, and had a lot of homework to do. So I'm posting one this week, and it's about how you can make like a short story just without writing anything down. So first step is you gotta think of your character, like what gender, the uh, the name of your character, and then other characters in it. I'm sorry, and then you gotta have two main parts in it and a twist. So what you gotta do is say your character is Ricardo. Ricardo is blah 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 blah, and then you think of this really good thing, and then that's gonna be your first point, and then blah 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 blah, and then the second good thing you think of is gonna be your second main point, and then blah 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 blah, and you think it's the happy ending, and then you have the twist, and then the character. Like R.L. Stein, his books are kind of like the same. Like they have the good points, and then they have the twist, and they're honestly short stories that are literally written down. But you can think of it on your own, and you can make it whatever you want. It could be a humorous short story, action, adventure. Most common is the horror one. I'm not flipping you off, I swear to God. So let's see. So I'm gonna go through, okay? So there's a girl named Patricia, and she's 17, and she has her neighbor, which is Emilio, and he is 19, and he's a guy. So they're neighbors and all that, and so Patricia, she's just walking home from school one day, and like she feels like someone's watching her. I'm telling you, this is a short story. She feels someone watching her. No, it's a horror short story. Yeah. So she turns around and she sees no one there. So she kind of gets freaked out. So she like starts to walk faster. And then she turns around because she hears someone, and no one's there. Then she starts running, and she hears someone running behind her, but she doesn't want to turn around. So she runs and runs, and she knows she's not going to be able to make it to her house because she hears the footsteps, like the running behind her gets closer and closer. So she decides to go over to her neighbor's house. So she knocks on the door frantically, like she's like pounding on the door, like let me in, let me in. And Emilio opens the door, and he's like, whoa, Patricia, whoa, what's wrong? He's like, and then she's like, there's someone behind me, help, to get me. And he's like, oh my God. And so he brings her in and all that. And so she's like, and so they lock the door and all that. And they like lock all the windows and all the doors. And he's like, tell me what's going on. And she's like, I was walking home from school and I was getting chased. So she tells him like what happened. And so he's like, okay. And then all of a sudden they hear something like rattling, and it's coming from down the hallway. And so Emilio is like, I'm gonna go check this out. And Patricia's like, no, don't do that. Don't go. She's like, don't leave me. And he's like, I'll be back. And he like grabs the closest thing, which happened to be like a lamp. Yeah, let's have it be a lamp. And so like he goes down the hallway, and Patricia's just there, just like by the door, waiting. She's just waiting. And then all of a sudden, you hear, oh gosh! And then Emilio comes running out of the bathroom. His hands are all bloody. There's blood on his face. He's like, we need to go now. And Patricia's like, oh my God, what is happening? And so he grabs her by the hand and locks the door, and they're running. They don't know where they're running, but they're running. And they hear someone shouting after them. And they're running, and they're running, and they're running. And so they get somewhere. They get to this other house, and they're like pounding on the door, telling the person to let them in. And the person opens the door. It's a really old grandma, you know. And she's like, what are you doing out here, kiddos? It's 6 p.m. I'm asleep. He's like, they're both like, please let us in. There's someone after us. And she sees the blood on Emilio. And she's like, oh my god. Come on in, you little kiddos. And so she brings them in. And she like gives them something. And so she calls the cops. So she goes to call the cops. And then they're like, oh my god, we're safe now. But then when the grandma comes back in, she walks out and she just walks out, she stands there. And she's wobbling on her feet just like, and she falls forward, a knife in the back of her neck. And they freak out, and Emilio and Patricia are trying to unlock the door, but they can't. It's locked. Locked from the outside, not the inside. And so all you hear is just laughing, just deep throat, like just deep laughter from the back of your throat. Turns around, and there's this guy. Red shirt, black jacket, black pants, covered in blood. Don't know if it's his blood. We don't know if it's the grandma's blood. It could be Emilio's. We never know. And the last thing he says to them is, you shouldn't have run. The end! See, short story right there. They probably do end up dead. Don't know why they didn't run to Patricia's house. Don't know why they didn't grab out a phone and call because, 21st century, you got cell phones. But no, they decided to run and run and run. So they practically killed themselves. But see, it's like a short story and you could just come up with that as to have 2 main points. My first main point was Emilio and the lamp. And the second main point was the grandmother. The twist was the killer was already in the house at the end when they're in the grandmother's house. So I have those 3 main points. Got my 2 characters. So that's how you make a story. You have your 2 main points and a twist. And then you have the things that go in between them. And then you end it. Just like that. So honestly, it's kind of easy. And see, this is the desk. No papers. No papers. No papers. Like, I have nothing. I just came up with it right there. So it's kind of really easy if you have a creative imagination, you can do whatever you want. And yeah. So I know this is kind of like a boring one, but I got a lot of homework to do. And yeah. Oh, I also wrote a story on Wattpad called The Now. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a funny, humorous horror kind of book, but if you have time, go check that out. But I hope you like this time. If you want me to do something more like this, comment, because I honestly have nothing to do. I love you guys. Love is a strong word. I kind of like you guys. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week, and don't die, and don't run.